You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk 1150 AM. Now, back to the show with local mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell.
And with that music, do not be scared of reverse mortgages, because here's another missed opportunity if you do. You're listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 29th, the Halloween show. You can also listen to my show podcast, Facebook premiere, or you can catch my show on my show YouTube channel. I am your host, Tina Mitchell, and your local mortgage expert. I bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. And in studio right now, Admiral, Flunder of Fairway Independent Mortgage. If what you thought you knew about reverse mortgages were wrong, when would you want to know the facts? Right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Admiral is really excited to have you on my show for the first time and to really dial in on some of the myths when it comes to reverse mortgages. So thank you for joining me.
Honor and a privilege to be here. And I want to say, I can see why you have Sandy on for a second time. She really understands the market. She's compassionate about her clients. Yeah, I can see she just fits with your culture absolutely perfectly.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she absolutely does. And she's actually been in many times over the 11 years that I've had the show. So it's always a pleasure to have her in. And I would have you in multiple times, Admiral, but I just got connected with you, I would say, within the last year or so. And we've built a strong friendship and confidence in the ability that you have in this really great space for seniors and reverse mortgages. So today I wanted to go over some of the myths that consumers have about reverse mortgages, so not to miss out on this opportunity. And the first myth I wanted to bring up and have you address, Admiral, is that you'll be giving up the deed to your own home and you will not own it anymore. Can you go ahead and share some light on that myth?
So the fact is that the deed always stays in the borrower's name, and they have all the rights that a person does in a conventional mortgage. You can sell it, you can remodel it, and keep it, any equity left when you move. And when I talk about any equity, there's typically plenty of equity, because we really only tap into a small part of a little bit of the equity. So the fundamental thing is, it must be a sustainable solution, not only for the investors, but this is designed to improve the quality of life for us baby boomers. And when President Reagan signed that bill back in 1988, it really was to improve the quality of lives. He wasn't a prophet to where he knew that equity would go up to the extent that it has, but in some ways he was.
Yeah, there's one of two reasons why you might see a senior working at a grocery store. Number one, they don't own a home anymore, or number two, they don't understand what they have sitting in their home and the opportunity for a reverse mortgage. And that's really why I wanted to bring you in. Even though you're with a different mortgage company, I'm the mortgage gal at Highlands Residential Mortgage, and I brought Admiral in from Fairway Mortgage, which might be thought as a competitor, but the reality is, when it comes to reverse mortgage, you need to work with the best of the best, and not just company wide, but definitely representation wide. And so, Admiral, this is definitely something unique that I do when I bring in another mortgage company to my show. So, Admiral, let's go into a second myth, that your house must be debt free to qualify for a reverse mortgage.
All right. So the facts are that you must be the homeowner and either own the home outright or have significant equity. Mm-hmm. And you must live in the home as your primary residence. You have to stay in the home about 6 months and 1 day a year. And then the same income and credit qualifications also apply to ensure that you have the ability to pay your taxes and insurance to maintain the home. When some information might be out there that There were folks that were in a reverse mortgage and they lost their home. I think there's a story about 150,000 people that had a reverse mortgage and they lost their home. But below that paragraph, there should have been another article about the 1,150,000 people that lost their homes for exactly the same reason. They didn't pay their taxes and insurance. And we take some blame there because that wasn't part of our qualifications. We didn't make sure that the person had shown a record of being able to pay their taxes, property taxes, and insurance.
Yeah. And it's just like saying that why would we lend somebody to home ownership if there was a risk that anybody would not be able to make their mortgage payment? I mean, common sense, it's the exact same thing. That's a really great thing. And I want to make reference to something that you said here too, because I think it's important. 6 months and 1 day, you don't have to live in your home for the entire year. You just 6 months and 1 day to qualify for a reverse mortgage. Is that what you said, Admiral?
Yeah, that's part of the agreement that yes, because you know what happens when you're not in the home, it's not taken care of.
Yes.
Squatters could move in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really good shout out, because a lot of times when you get into retirement, you're living in a different place part of the year, especially when we're in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. You might be heading out to Arizona or Florida during our winter time. So next myth, you could lose your home and be forced to move out.
All right. So the facts are that as long as all the loan terms are met, just like in a conventional mortgage, you cannot be forced to sell the home and or move. The terms include living in the house as your primary residence, maintaining the home, and paying home expenses such as taxes, insurance, and you must maintain the home.
Yeah. And if you can't afford to pay taxes and insurance, if you don't have a reverse mortgage, you're going to be losing in the home a lot quicker than that, because not only do you have taxes and insurance, but you don't have the income that you're drawing out from a reverse mortgage to take care of other expenses, which is the whole benefit of reverse mortgage. So next myth, your home will be taken away when you pass away and your family loses the right to that property.
All right. So the facts are, when you permanently move out of the house, whether you sell it or you pass away, neither you, your estate, nor your heirs are responsible to pay the deficit if the balance owed on your home, on your reverse mortgage, exceeds the home value. We actually have what we call a mortgage insurance protection that is part of your closing costs that guarantee that. So, but if the heirs want to keep your home, they can purchase it for 95% of the appraised value. And I've got to just add to that. That is, they can buy it for 95% of the appraised value if the home is underwater. Then they're able to buy it for 90% of the appraised value. But otherwise, it's just like a conventional mortgage.
Yep.
They
Just like
pass
any
away.
other mortgage. The heirs aren't responsible for it. They're just not going to get that, that home if it's underwater. And so it's really as the heirs of the house is what's, more important is your loved ones in their senior age to be able to enjoy the life that they worked so hard for, or for you not to have to be financially responsible. And this is the reason I connected you with my mom and stepdad is I don't want to be financially responsible for my mom and my stepdad. And I don't have to be, because they have so much equity that is just sitting in the home, and they deserve to have that equity. Not me needing to have it when they pass away. So the next myth, reverse mortgage loans don't offer anything different from other loans, but cost way more than other loans. Big
Okay.
myth.
So the facts are that there have been changes in the FHA's reverse mortgage program in recent years that reduced the borrower's cost. While any reverse mortgage is still more expensive than a traditional mortgage, they may provide you with more options than a traditional mortgage, such as no mortgage payments. And the borrower still, we have to give you the disclaimer when we say no mortgage payments. Behind that, to be compliant, we also have to say that the borrower is still responsible for paying taxes and insurance and maintaining the home. And there's an increasing line of credit option on the unused funds that grows at the same rate as the balance, the interest that's charged on the balance that's remaining.
Yeah, which is a huge deal. It's an investment because it's growing like other investments would, that you're having more of those funds available, and you're not having to pay a monthly mortgage payment for those funds that you're taking out to enjoy your life outside of just maintaining what you would have to anyways, which is the taxes, the insurance, and maintaining the quality of the actual asset itself. And whether you're using it because you just don't want to be stressed about bills, or you're using it so that you can enjoy your life and vacation and maybe buy another vacation property that's going to build equity to offset the fact that you're taking equity out of this home. There's so much that you can do with those funds for a reverse mortgage. So, Admiral, next myth: your children could get stuck with a big mortgage if you live too long.
Okay. So the facts are that your children can never be liable for any amount over the value of the home, because the loan is guaranteed by the FHA mortgage insurance, which I talked about earlier.
Yeah. So there is, if you're listening to my segment with Admiral right now, I believe as a child that we're being a disservice to our parents by not making sure that they understand that a reverse mortgage is available to them. And we've talked, I think, in our panel conversation about the health issue. We know as you get older, you're more at risk of health issues. And a lot of health issues come from stress. So if you can minimize that stress that your parents and grandparents have financially, why would you not help them in this situation again, so there's not a missed opportunity and there's no risk to you at all? So, Admiral, my last myth is the safest thing is a house that's free and clear.
The facts are that in the event of an extended nursing home stay or a lawsuit, all your home equity can be lost that you spent your whole life to create. So reverse mortgage can unlock that equity and allow you to properly manage it for the benefit of your family. Talk to your financial advisor about how a reverse mortgage can help you do this, including helping you pay for longer-term care expenses such as medical or nursing home expenses. If I could expand on that just a little bit, the best time to do a reverse mortgage, or sometimes people will say the best time to take out a loan is when you don't need it.
Yeah.
What I wanted people to understand is you can take it out, have that money sitting there growing, so that if an event occurs, you're set. You don't have to dig into your portfolio. You don't have to borrow it from your children. You simply take advantage of the money that you've sat there. So some of us, you can call it a put. One last thing, I want to talk about something called life expectancy set-asides. So what that means is that if we can actually set it up so we can use some of the equity to cover the taxes and the insurance, and a servicer is making that. So a person they can travel all over the world and not have to worry about making that payment. I have some clients that just say, let's go ahead and set it up. We call it a LISA, which is life expectancy set aside, but that's a newer part of the program that just this stress you're talking about, that takes a lot of that stress out. You don't have to worry about missing a payment or any of those things, because we take care of it for you.
Absolutely. So get the reverse mortgage set up before you need it, and it's there if you decide to need it. And just like a traditional mortgage, here, get a home equity line of credit set up. You're not paying anything on the home equity line of credit unless you're actually using it. So you can do the same thing in the reverse mortgage. Get that home equity line of credit reverse mortgage. The difference is it's actually going to grow and become more over time when you're not using it. So there's another benefit there, correct, Admiral?
Absolutely. And if you use it, if you use every bit of it, you don't have to pay it back. The home pays for it.
Yeah.
When you decide, when you transition to the next phase.
Yeah. So in wrap up with my time, Admiral, because I really want seniors that are listening to the show hear this, and children for their parents that are listening to the show right now. A reverse mortgage, they're not at risk of ever losing their home, not having to pay anything back that they don't have the money for because the equity goes under. The heirs are not responsible for it. It's a benefit and an asset for them not to have to be worried about financial stress that could come up with income going, a lack of income, or their income declining. Or if you just want to have your best life ever in that journey in your senior years, a reverse mortgage gives you the opportunity to live your best life right now. Because when else do you want to live it than in your senior years, right?
Exactly.
We'll be definitely doing a reverse mortgage for sure when we're older, Admiral. Well, Admiral, thank you so much for coming into studio, and thank you for taking care of my clients that can have access to a reverse mortgage. And thank you for taking care of my mom and stepdad. You're going to actually bring me to tears, Admiral, because my mom, this is a great asset for her and a great way for her to live a great life. And I'm just so glad that I have you on my team helping my mom that I love so much. So thank you for everything that you're doing for me personally, my clients, and for our community.
You're so welcome. I deem it an honor and a privilege.